This is coal. Don't be afraid. Don't be scared.
The Treasurer knows the rule on crops.
By 1990, no Australian child will be living in poverty.
Well, may we say God save the Queen, because nothing will save the government yet.
Mate, because I want to do you slowly.
I want to do this long.
I believe we are in danger of being swamped by Asians.
But we will decide who comes to this country and the circumstances in which they come.
People are entitled to their sexual proclivities.
I will not be lectured about sexism and misogyny by this man. I will not.
The Australian public does not want to see this place descend into a political colosseum.
Just sit down, Buffett.
Welcome to The Take. Hi, welcome to The Take. I'm Tish, and I'm going to be talking about the Palestine Action Strike hunger strikers who are entering their 4th and 5th week of striking. My channel, usually I cover anti-MLM, but I have also been covering politics and spent a great deal of time on Graham Plattner and why he's a terrible candidate and indicative of what is wrong with the Democratic Party in America and the progressive and so-called leftist creator space. But this is very urgent and I think very relevant. You can see that fascism is taking root all over the world. And the good news is fascism never lasts. Like, it is always overcome because people don't like feeling, repressed. They don't like being tortured. They don't like that. So we'll see how we go. But in the meantime, while we have the opportunity to be able to speak freely about these things, we should. And I'd like to elevate the voices of these people who are being unjustly prosecuted as terrorists when all they have been doing is petty crimes, And what they are doing is trying to intervene in a genocide. And when you are a member of the UN, you actually sign something like the UN Charter that says that in the case of a genocide, you will stop it. And Britain, Australia, America, they're not following those rules. They're actually allowing it to happen and paying for it and encouraging it and doing things like making Palestine Action a terrorist group to please Israel. Now, Britain is becoming more and more fascist through the Labour Party, which is ironic. They're more, and it's the same with the current Democrats. They're more conservative than the Conservatives were in the 80s, which is like Margaret Thatcher and Ronald Reagan. Our supposed working class parties are more conservative than those politicians were. And while they did lay the groundwork for the neoliberalism that we are currently experiencing and a late stage capitalism, which is, making our world a hellscape, we still can raise our voices and fight back. And the Tabernacle, wonderful creator in England, and he did a video recently about how Britain is a fascist nation and that the Labour Party is trying to out conservative reform so that the Reform Party doesn't get elected. Does that make sense? Doesn't make sense to me. We're going to be more conservative than the Conservative Party. So then people vote for us. Like, universally the most hated party in Britain ever. I don't think, those out there, the young'uns, may not remember when Margaret Thatcher died, the song from The Wizard of Oz, Ding Dong the Witch is Dead, topped the charts. People sell that. They hated her. Damn, they hated her. Ding dong, the witch is dead. Witch, oh witch, the wicked witch. What song are we going to sing for Starmer? Hey, leave it in the comments. I haven't thought about it, but he is hopeless. He's a fucking that. He was a human rights lawyer. What the fuck happened to that guy? Anyway, they suck. And as a part of their crackdown and support for Israel, their crackdown on anti-Semitism and support for Israel, they outlawed the group Palestine Action, and the hunger strikers were arrested for their break-in to a RAF base and vandalizing equipment, and this is tied to Elbit Systems as well. This is what the lawyers of the people on the hunger strike have called this one of the gravest prison crises in recent UK history. And some of our older people would know Bobby Sands. He led a group on a hunger strike. Bobby Sands was the leader of a group of prisoners who were arrested as Irish Republicans. This was in 1981, and 9 other people died. And that is basically what the reference is at the moment. It was a tumultuous time in Irish history and British history. I had always heard of the IRA and bombings and things like that, but I was 4 years old in 1981, so I would always say I was pretty politically savvy, but not at the age of 4. All right. So they are looking at imminent death and hospitalization. And the other thing, too, is that not a lot of people are talking about this. So I wanted to talk about it. I had watched a video on YouTube, Middle East Eye, where they talked to one of the people on the hunger strike. They also talked about how David Lammy, the Deputy Prime Minister and Minister for Justice, was confronted by a family member, and he said, "Oh, I don't know anything about this." And other MPs, including Zara Sultana and Jeremy Corbyn, had called him out, saying that they had written letters to him about it. He was confronted with this in the House of Commons, and yeah, they basically are, I don't know, pretending it's not happening, because we have to keep Israel happy, right? So the name of the 6 people who are on the hunger strike, and possibly there's one more. That's the Middle East Eye, according to the Middle East Eye video. The names of the people, apologies for the mispronunciation, which is bound to be terrible. Kessa Zura, Amy Gardner Gibson, John Sink, Hiba Maraisi, Tuata Hoxha, and Cameron Ahmed have been refusing food since early November. Miss Zura and Miss Gardner Gibson have been refusing to eat for 38 days as of Wednesday, according to supporters. Each of the others are said to have been refusing to eat for at least 30 days. 2 further detainees awaiting trial in Palestine Action-related cases began refusing food in the last fortnight. In the letter, each of our clients' health is deteriorating rapidly, says the letter. 5 of our clients have already been hospitalized during the strike. The protest began after a series of demands, including a call for the ban on Palestine Action to be lifted and for a defense firm with links to Israel to be shut down, and that's Elbit Systems. I wonder why it's not named there, BBC. BBC? You didn't want to name it there? 3 High Court judges are expected to rule within weeks on the lawfulness of the ban. That review is a result of the courts granting the group's co-founder permission to challenge the Home Secretary's decision. Is that Shabana Mahmood? Oh, she's a nasty piece of work. Her parents immigrated from Pakistan, and she's using her identity to be a bigot to other identities. And then there's a lot of like all these other white people who retweet her stuff, right? So then it doesn't look like they're racist. So they're like, look, I'm just retweeting Shabana Mahmood's tweets. I can't be racist. I'm not saying it. She's saying it, which is fucking disgusting. And you can see straight through it. So the protesters say they have been denied bail, which they want, or a fair trial. Although they have faced the same legal process as other defendants in Crown Court trials, hearings that have been independently witnessed by journalists. In the letter to Lammy, the group's lawyers say they are considering legal action over human rights breaches. We, as their legal team, are under no illusion that their commitment to the cause and their will to ensure that their demands are met is ironclad, the letter says. We are concerned that should this situation be allowed to continue without resolution, there is the real and increasingly likely potential that young British citizens will die in prison, having never ever even been convicted of an offence. We therefore request an urgent meeting with you in an attempt to resolve this situation before it becomes too late to avoid the death of one or more of our clients. That is grim. And there's no way that I want these people to die. But fuck, like, respect on their names that they are doing this much. Like, considering, you know, like martyrs for the Palestinian cause. Absolute martyrs, no matter what happens. Supporters of the detainees say they have formally complained about their treatment in prison. The BBC cannot independently corroborate that claim. The Prisons and Probation Ombudsman, an independent body, does not comment on individual complaints it receives or investigates. The Ministry of Justice has not commented on the letter, but earlier in Parliament, Speaker Sir Lindsay Hoyle said that it was unacceptable that ministers had not responded to requests for information from MPs, and that's what I was talking about earlier. McDonnell told the House he had written to Lammy last Wednesday and not heard back. We've not received any response, he said. I informed his office yesterday I'd be raising a point of order. We gave it another day. We still haven't had a response to that letter. This is a matter of urgency. Corbyn added that he had visited one of the hunger strikers and was deeply concerned. So Lindsay told McDonnell that it was totally unacceptable that ministers had not responded to him. I can't make a meeting happen, but I do expect people's correspondence to be dealt with quickly and effectively. Responding earlier in the week to inquiries about the hunger strike, a spokesman for the prison service said, we continually assess prisoners' well-being and take the appropriate action, including taking prisoners to the hospital if they are assessed as needing hospital treatment by a medical professional. Yeah, great. I mean, it's obviously a violation of human rights because they're just an action group. That was very soft. Like 4 days ago, like, you know, like it wasn't very like, this is outrageous, and didn't put the blame on anybody. You know, it was soft. So this is from Middle East Eye as well. Families of Palestine Action Hunger Strikers in hospital blocked from contacting them. Fucking shame on the British government. NHS doctors tell Middle East Eye situation is incredibly serious and that one prisoner was chained to a prison guard in hospital. Fucking hell. Like, it's inhumane. Shamina Alarm spends her days glued to her phone. Along with her parents, she's waiting for news of her brother Cameron Ahmed, a Palestine Action linked prisoner, hospitalized for a second time on Monday due to his hunger strike. The fact that I don't have my phone right next to me in this interview is making me feel anxious, Alarm told Middle East Eye. We don't know how he's doing. That's the honest answer. So what, like, prisoners get phone calls. Why the fuck can't they contact their family? Right? There are prisoner rights. Disgusting. We don't know how he's doing. That's the honest answer, she said of her brother, who is being held at Pentonville Prison in London. The prison, she said, has blocked the hospital from directly providing medical updates to her brother's family and solicitor, instructing them to go through the hospital's legal team instead. What the fuck? The family experienced a similar communications blackout when Ahmed was first hospitalized on 25th of November, despite multiple calls and emails from Alarm and her husband requesting information. Like last time, we've been cut from communication with him and we're unable to get updates, she said. The silence is unbearable for the sister and her elderly parents who are now wholly dependent on her for support in her brother's absence. Every day you're on edge, every hour, every minute. I don't sleep. I stay awake. I'm anxious, Alarm told Middle East Eye. A Ministry of Justice spokesperson said in response to the request for comment that His Majesty's Prison and Probation Services have assured ministers that all cases of prisoner food refusal are being managed in accordance with the relevant policy and with appropriate medical assessment and support consistent with prisoner rights. NHS England did not comment by the time of publication. Fuck them. Like, seriously. Cameron Ahmed joined a rolling hunger strike on the 2nd November, launched by Palestine Action affiliated prisoners over their detention conditions and the prescription of the Direct Action Group. Some of them have not eaten for over 40 days. The campaign group supporting the strikers, Prisoners for Palestine, reported that Ahmed's ketone levels, which indicate a blood acidity, was dangerously high before his hospitalization. Alarm told Middle East Eye that ECG tests before hospitalization revealed that Ahmed's pulse was slowing. This is dangerous and can lead to things like coma or sudden cardiac arrest. Alam said the prison had also conducted blood tests prior to the hospitalization, but they have yet to provide the results. So he's unaware, and obviously if he's not aware, then we don't know either, Alam said. 5 of the hunger strikers have been hospitalized so far. In all these cases, Prisoners for Palestine reported the prisoners' next of kin were not notified. Ella Mulsdale, who is listed as next of kin for Kessa Zura, a hunger striker held in HMP Bronzefield, said that she had called the prison requesting a welfare check on her cell before her hospitalization on 3rd of December. But then she heard nothing. I waited maybe 20 more minutes after they said they would send someone, Mulsdale said. I knew once she didn't call me that there was no way she was in her cell. The hospital refused her a call to me and her lawyer. Mulsdale said that the hospital removed her as Zura's next of kin, instead listing HMP Bronzefield as the emergency contact. Damn. James Smith, an emergency doctor who has been providing advice and support to the hunger strikers and their families, said that the lack of communication by prisons during the strikers' hospitalization flies in the face of standard protocol. If a prisoner is admitted to hospital, there is a concern that they may be severely unwell or they might have suffered a severe injury. Then the prison service should update the next of kin that they have been admitted to hospital and update them with respect to their clinical state. And that's very well established and accepted guidance, Smith told Middle East Eye. The doctor also reported that prison guards accompanying the prisoners to hospital have obstructed their treatment. He said he was aware of at least one case in which a striker was chained to the bed or a prison guard for the duration of their stay in hospital. That's fucking terrible. Like, what do they think is going to happen? These people haven't eaten. They're fucking not escaping anywhere. God damn. This included when they were showering, when NHF staff were trying to do medical assessments and take medical histories, Smith said. That's entirely fascist. That's ultimate fascism there. Smith said the medical treatment of the strikers are receiving falls far below the minimum standard. When a prisoner announces that they're going on a hunger strike, there are a series of actions that need to be taken, he said, the bare minimum of which is regular daily monitoring. He explained that this should include daily checks on blood sugar and ketone levels, as well as their weight. There doesn't appear to have been a single day where a full set of clinical signs have been shared with me by the next of kin, the doctor told MEE. We have certainly heard of several instances where the nurse has not checked the weight or blood ketone level hasn't been taken on a particular day. Smith he explained that, particularly in the latter stages of hunger strike, a day where you've not taken an essential blood test or done an essential set of observations can be the difference between picking up on something early or leaving it until it's too late. Smith emphasized that the situation now is critical, with many of the prisoners approaching the 40th day of food refusal. This is the phase in which the body is effectively starting to break down muscles and essential organs, and there's a very high risk of death. This could either be due to infection as the body becomes unable to fight it off, or due to the imbalance of essential salts in the bloodstream, which causes the heart to start to behave in an irregular fashion. The heart can ultimately just stop beating, he said, emphasizing that this could happen at any time. It cannot be understated how serious this situation is now. Multiple MPs have written to Justice Secretary David Lammy requesting urgent intervention. Lammy, who previously denied knowledge of the situation, either failed to respond or refused to meet with MPs. On Friday, MP Zara Sultana wrote to Lammy again, urging him to take meaningful action and warning that the strikers' lives are now at immediate risk. Yeah. I mean, what they're doing with Palestine Action and banning it, they're arresting old women and, veterans and just the most peaceful people. Like, when I have been to the Palestine marches that I have been, I just imagine all of us getting arrested and it's just a bunch of, very peaceful people. The last march that I went to, there was horses and stuff, and it was just so over the top. What do you think is going to happen? We're just here because we want Palestine to be fucking not be genocided. Are we here to fucking abuse the cops? I mean, only if they abuse us, I'm gonna fight back. Probably. I don't know. If they probably pepper spray would make me not fight back, but I do defend myself when I'm in a dicey situation. But yeah, so if whatever you can do to amplify this story, it's a big one, and if these people pass away, and the Bobby Sands thing was huge, worldwide, breaking, just insane amounts of attention, and this doesn't seem to be making the ripple. So whatever we can do to amplify those voices, because we live in democracies where we have free speech, so we can say free Palestine and fuck Israel. We can say that. We're allowed to have independent thought. We're allowed to say what we think, what we feel. And if we can't, then we're not a democracy. We're a fascist nation. So, yeah, whatever you can do to help, do it. Thanks for watching. And, my thoughts are with the family and the people who are fucking just braver than I can imagine. Yeah. All right. See you next time.